Hopefully I'm live. I think I'm live. What's up, guys? I hope the sound is good, the video is good. Let me know if anybody pops in the room. If it is, I planned on doing a lot more videos, but I didn't realize something. Last week I decided to do a video. It said my camera was not detected or there was a USB power failure, and I was like, what the hell was going on? So I was looking around, I was all down there. I did all types of troubleshooting stuff. Nothing, right? Nothing worked. And so apparently, what had happened, hey, what's up, Trevor? My cat got behind my computer and chewed up my camera cord. So I was a little off the grid for a little while. I was like, ah, shit. And I picked up actually picked up a better camera, a better Logitech camera, and I got a little mini tripod with it. So maybe I'll set up somewhere else when I feel like I need to. Hey, what's up, Eric? How are you, bro? Good seeing you, man. Good seeing Trevor. You guys are always staples in here. Um, I'm just here watching the Subway Series, but yeah, my cat ate my damn cable cord, so I had to go out and buy a new camera because, and it was broke for like over a week and a half, and I was like, shit, I'm gonna wait. I go out and get a good one, so I went out and got a good one, and here I am. Is the sound good? The picture's good for you guys? Let me thumbs up, thumbs down. I'm not. It's good, good. So I didn't know how it is on your end. I don't because I can't hear myself obviously. Yeah, 3 weeks, 3 weeks. Bills camp, 3 weeks, man. What's up, Nick? How are you? 3 weeks. I'm very, very excited. No news is good news as far as I'm concerned. No catastrophes like a guy who could have been a Bills first round pick, Jonah Williams. That's devastating. That is devastating to see a tweet, to see an Instagram notification about your first round pick getting an injury. I mean, us Bills fans have been there before. I mean, Shaq Lawson. Yeah, man, I feel bad too. I always want to see a renaissance of the AFC. The teams that when I grew up that were good, the Bills were on the come up. The Bengals had been established, been to some Super Bowls, didn't win them, of course, against the 49ers. Um, the Browns, proverbially they were perpetually they were just always going to NFC Championship, AFC Championship games, could never get to the Super Bowl. So I want to see a renaissance. I'm tired of this. Dolphins were solid. They were a solid team. Of course, they had Dan Marino. They had a legendary coach. They were an aired out type of team, which was different for that time. It was much more of a 3 yards in a cloud of dust, run, throw it over the top of them league and play defense and buckle down. That's the way the league was. You saw the Giants, you saw the Bears, the 49ers were one of the few teams who was more apt to like open it up offensively. But onto this Bills team, and I wanted to ask you guys what your main area of concern is with the team. Going into training camp, everybody's got great vibes about the team, best vibes I've felt from the fan base, including myself, in a long time about the team as a whole, with depth, with the draft, the way it fell for them with Ed Oliver, the glut of free agents that were brought in. What's your main area of concern? Me, yep, Eric took mine. Eric got it. Eric's the clairvoyant. That's it, man. The offensive line, how those whoever those five guys are. I'm still feeling that Dawkins is going to be the left tackle. I think he'll do so. I think I'm not as down on him as most people are. Morse, obviously the center, but everybody else is just so up in the air. I mean, it's not even up in the air. No, it's good, bro. I appreciate that. That's what you're here for, man. You're here to share your opinions and to say what you feel. You're not here to be a puppet. None of you guys are. Oh, the running backs. That, yeah, I mean, they still have Shady, and he's not going anywhere. And look, if he's motivated and he comes out and runs his ass off and plays something like the 2015 15, 16 the 2016 version of Shady, I'll be really excited. That if he can do that, you give him high 100, low 200 in carries, hopefully gets up in the high fours. Knock on wood, maybe the low fives and yards per carry. He can be a weapon. I think he was frustrated last year, tried to force a lot of things that weren't there because he was frustrated. He's highly emotional, plays with his emotions on his sleeve. So if he's there, I mean, I'm going to root for him to do well. Biggest concern, can Dable get? Yeah, that's gonna be there's a lot of questions. I mean, everybody has different ones, but there's gonna be a lot of questions about that. It's the tight end and the offensive line because those two things work in concert. Who's the tight end group going to be? The main 2 to 3 guys on the field at all times. I've already written Tyler Croft off. He's a PUP guy to me. Not going to see him if we're lucky, no setbacks, and if he's lucky, the team is lucky, no setbacks in his rehab and all that. We'll see him week 9, week 10. That's when they'll see him once his 2-year window comes out. After a PUP, because I'm not counting him on the 53. I've seen some preliminary 53-man rosters. So many things are going to happen. They'll pick up a couple of waiver guys. I think they're 13 waiver spots better than they were last year. The year before last, 9 and 7. I think they had the 21st waiver claim. Now they've got the 9th waiver claim. So they're going to be able to get some better guys. Hey, what's up, Lois? How are you, bro? My cat ate my damn webcam cord, bro. I couldn't come on for almost 2 weeks. I tried. Boop, boop. I told the other guys, and I finally looked at the cord after being an idiot and troubleshooting for like over 3 hours, and I saw there was all little teeth marks in it. I was like, oh. So is the picture good, just as good as the last cam? I hope it is. Paid a little more for it, so hopefully it's decent. But yeah, the offensive line to me, though, the guys who play in front of Josh Allen, it's going to be huge. Those guys that keep him upright and keep him healthy, because there was times last year, even especially after he came back off of his injury, I mean, I was excited about his running ability, and then I start to think, like, where was this when he was playing early in the year? Jesus Christ, like, it just came out of nowhere. It was like they unleashed him. It's like, hey, dude, yeah, all that running shit you can do, go out there and do it now. It was crazy, but I don't have any allegiances to any of these guys, to be honest with you. I know Morse is going to be the center. I've already said I felt Dawkins is going to be the left tackle, but anybody else who happens to win a job, I'm okay with it. I'm not going to get butt hurt if Inseki takes a job from Ford, or if Ford goes and takes a job from Feliciano or Wyatt Teller. I don't give a shit. I just want the best 5 guys in front of it, whether it's Adrian Waddell or if it's Garrett McGinn. I don't care. Whoever the best 5 guys are, that's the ones I want, and I'll be very happy with. And I think they'll be able to flip a tackle too, because I don't think they can keep all these guys. I think they'll be able to flip like a depth guy, maybe in a cheap trade for like a conditional 6th or 7th. Who knows? I don't know if we're going to see significantly less. I think we'll see less. I just think that they're going to use more design runs. You're going to see more read options. You're going to see more pass, RPOs. You didn't see any RPOs. It was just basically him scrambling or him taking off. Like, you didn't see any designed runs really with him too much. So I think you'll see more of those. The other Yeah, man, you guys are coming up with good ones. You guys are really coming up with good ones as special teams. You guys know how oh my God. Everybody kind of like whimsically, special teams, until special teams is an issue, nobody really thinks about it, and I'm just as guilty. The Crossman game, his first year with the Bills, when big LeGarrette Blount was returning like every kick, every punt, every kick, like for 50 yards in the rain in New England. I remember that so well. But last year, I got to go back to 2002 when Greg Williams hired his buddy, Danny Smith, who had never ever coached in the NFL, to coach the special teams. He since has gone on to coach a lot of special teams and maybe kind of been a better coach, but that was his first time coach, and he was terrible. The special teams was terrible. They had like 3 or 4 different kickers. Jake Arians, Bruce Arians' son, was on that team, I think. Shane Graham. I think they finally settled on Mike Hollins as the kicker, and he kept the job for a few years until they signed Ryan Lindell after that. But the punting, atrocious. The coverage, atrocious. The return game, atrocious. Anytime anything positive, which rarely ever happened in special teams, there was a block in the back, penalty, a holding penalty, which brought them back. So that unit was a fucking shit show. So there's a lot more questions than I had, because for me it's just offensive line. That's the first one that always pops into my head, is offensive line, and I kind of get stuck there because they added so many new bodies there. But all these are just as important. They lost. I've said this to you guys multiple times. I feel like they, as a 6-8 team, 6-10 team that had, 3-4 different quarterbacks, gluts of injuries, barely any receiving core. This team was 2 to 3 wins better on on special teams errors, muff punts that became touchdowns, and things like that. Oh, and the Sabres, I don't know how you guys feel. I'm just kind of like, the Colin Miller trade, nice trade, solid trade. The kind of defenseman that they've needed, moves the puck, possesses the puck, responsible in his own end. Good trade. Nothing. What's up, Snarl? How you doing? Yeah, why? I was gonna talk about that. There's a divide with him, with Restalainen. Yeah, I know it's tough, but people like him, and then there's people who want to trade him. I think he should have been traded 2 years ago. He should have been traded 2 years ago when his value was this. You saw that he's been the same player. How you doing, man? Pretty good. My cat ate my. I told everybody else my cat ate my goddamn cord. My cat literally chewed up the damn cord to the webcam, so I had to get out a new one. Was the reason I was off. Yeah, I have no desire to see him in a Sabres uniform anymore. You know what he is. Everybody gets caught in everybody, and including me. I've been guilty of this so many times. And for you younger cats, please remember this. Never get caught in the paralysis of potential. You hear about a player, and all you hear about Restalainen is the potential. You hear it on instigators. Here's a guy who's 6'4", 220 pounds, hits like a truck, can skate like the wind. He just needs better. He always needs something. It's always something he needs that hasn't been done. He either hasn't been coached. He either hasn't been. It's always an excuse for the guy, but it's always his potential that keeps you tantalized. Even in football, we always were bought into the potential of certain guys that never came to fruition. There was always the potential of Marcel Darius. The physical ability was through the roof. He's dirt dumb as a hockey player. I seen him make passes like, just basically like, here's the puck. Here's the fucking puck. Here, take it. Take it in front of the net and just tap in a goal. Stupid. The guy is just, he's a hot and cold player. You're either going to get him hot probably like 25-30% of the time. Like, he's going to be running guys into the boards. He's going to be being responsible in his own end. He's going to be, joining the rush up ice. Like, he's going to be good at that shit. But then there's other times he just looks like I'm just out here skating with the guys today. I'm out here in an NHL game. Yeah, at Rob Johnson, look the part. All the potential, just Rob Johnson was everything you wanted physically. Could run, mobile, arm, the size. The guy was as oblivious as there was in the pocket. He would stand back there and think he could eat a sandwich, have a cappuccino, and some fucking tiramisu. And then it was just, I could just play so many times back in my head where Rob Johnson's back there just chilling, boom, like the ball would just fly out of his fucking hands like it was shot out of a cannon. I mean, he was the strip sack king, boy, because he gave some defensive linemen some good stats. Yeah, 5-on-5, he's terrible. Yeah, it seems like he's good on the power play. That's about it. Yeah, here in Jersey, the Devils play so close, so I hear a lot of Devil stuff. But just listening to Sabres stuff for so long, I really didn't follow hockey that much up until like 5-6 years ago. And then I really started following it, and and it just really like I started getting interested. Especially when the Sabres were trying to get a hold of McDavid, and then Eichel was the fallback, and they ended up with Eichel, of course. Yeah, they re-signed Skinner Ronalds. They re-signed him. That was important. The guy scored 40 goals. People bitch about the money they gave him, but you see all the money that's being handed out yesterday. That's what the going rate is of players. Oh, yeah, the Devils. That's another thing. The Sabres have to compete with these teams. The Rangers, they got Panarin. They got Kaku. They Truba. They got Truba. They got better. The Devils, Subban. He had a bit of an off year, but for what they gave up, good player, really good player. They got Hughes. Taylor Hall's coming back. So the Sabres got to do something, man. They've got roster surgery, man. This seems like an emergency room visit right now. You're trying to put Band-Aids on wounds that need surgery, and they need it bad. Yeah, it sucks that they've been garbage for so long. I mean, I was looking back at some of their history that was potentially the best team in their franchise that wasn't able to go and play for a Stanley Cup. Those 05, 06, 07 teams, they were that good, and that's a shame. Yeah, I'm looking. I'm waiting for it. And I'll jump back and forth to Bills and Sabres and anything else you want, anything else you guys want to talk about. But they have so many, like they have the same player in a different body. It's the Kyle Oposo. There's the Saboka. There's the Gergensons, and then there's Larson, and that's 4 dudes. That's 4 guys, and your bottom line is going to be made up of 3 guys. VC is going to be on that bottom line, so that's 5. So you're telling me one more dude? Who's it going to be? Scott Wilson? And how about the second line? You still have Middlestat. I don't know if Cousins is going to play a role. I mean, he's a young player, and there's so many young players that go to other teams that get drafted by other teams. I was looking at a player, I think he was mentioned today, the young kid who plays for the Blackhawks, went there and scored like 25 goals his rookie year, 30 goals his second year. Players just don't. The Sabres don't get these players. They just don't acquire these players. These players who come into a team and just, hey, we're instantly good. Hey, we're instantly making an impact. It's always wait and see. They're down in the minors. Now they need impact, like immediately. It needs to come from a place that they're not expecting it, and that'll show me that there's some progress. Yeah, basketball. I mean, the Clippers when they were there. The Clippers when they were there back in the 70s were a big draw. I heard they played at the Odd, and I heard they were a huge draw. And it's a shame that they moved. I believe they were an an American Basketball League team, ABA. And once that league disbanded or they were relocated, it sucks. I think the sports market in Buffalo is as good as a sports market as any, because they just love sports and they follow sports religiously. And I supposedly live in the biggest sports market. I mean, it definitely has the most teams. And I was here with 3 NHL teams. 2 had the first overall pick. Well, 1 had the first overall pick. The other had the second overall pick. Yesterday, 1 team signed a huge free agent. I mean, and the coverage that happens here media-wise is terrible. One 3 o'clock show doesn't even talk about hockey. Francesa does not talk about hockey. He doesn't. If you ever listen to him, he does not mention. He doesn't talk about hockey. He'll tell his callers, "I don't talk about hockey." Yeah, I don't like the NBA format. Everybody loves it. Everybody thinks it's the greatest thing since sliced bread. Everybody just blows their load over the first day of free agency. Okay, first day of free agency's over. Now what? Everybody's waiting on Kawhi Leonard. Everybody's going to wait on Kawhi Leonard, and then what happens after that? Their regular season is terrible. Not one other season, very few. Baseball in September, if your team is out of it and you're selling, that's very common. But even then, with the new one-game playoff, there's teams that are more apt to try to stay in it now. There's more teams that are apt to try to go for it now. Yeah, Don LaGreca. Don LaGreca does the Game Misconduct podcast. Like, he's a huge Boomer and Gio in the morning will talk hockey. Don LaGreca will talk hockey. But you're talking about like a media market of this size and magnitude, 3 NHL teams, 3. And you have one nationally syndicated show who will tell people, I don't talk about sports, hockey. And then, I mean, Michael K don't know much about hockey. The guy, Joe and Evan don't really touch on hockey much. They mostly complain about the Mets and Jets. They're funny when they do it, don't get me wrong. Yeah, for game 1 and game 2, man. Media split on them there. The media with the Jets and Giants here has been rough. I mean, especially with Gettleman, with the quarterback. You can go back to last year when they decided to bypass quarterback for Saquon. Saquon's great regular season kind of like chilled that out. The whole Daniel Jones drafting was, it said, oh, now the Jets are this. And then once the Adam Gase hiring, people were kind of cool on the Jets. Then they kind of calmed down. And then the whole firing of McCagnon and all those wounds were reopened. So everybody is kind of like, oh, it's dysfunction junction again. Are there more Giants or Jet fans? They're kind of split, I would say. I mean, I know both Jets and Giants fans. I know a lot of Jet fans. I know Giants fans. Yeah, that press conference here, bro. It was like, I mean, that's something that would happen in Buffalo in anywhere between 2000 and 2000. After John Butler left the organization, and I would say 2015. That's like 15 years. Am I going to go? I may go to one of them. I'm trying to think. I may go to one of them. It'll be hard to go to the opener for the Giants. I know that that's gonna be a hard one to go to. Oh, I think this is going to be an inside the park home run now. Just stop at second, Hicks. Sorry about that. I had to watch the Yankees for a second. That's going to be a hard. They're ridiculous, and the stadium is not that great. It's not that great. The first time I go to New Era this year, I bet you the stadium experience is going to be a trillion times better, because I've heard from Giant fans and Jet fans that it sucks, and I've seen it. It's not that great. They paid like almost $3 billion for that shithole, and it's right in Secaucus. Drive past it like 3 times a week. It's not that great, and they're building a huge ass mall next to it. Oh, did Los have a question? I didn't see. Sorry about that. Oh, honestly, it's Long Island. Long Island, because their facility in Hofstra. Remember when Rex did he did the Jets, they did the whole Hard Knocks, and they were in Long Island. I think that was their second to last. I think that might have been their last year in Long Island at Hofstra. They would do training camp there, and a lot of Jet fans had the Long Island market. And when they moved to Jersey back in the 70s, started sharing Giant Stadium with the Giants. Giants were playing games in Yankee Stadium, the Polo Grounds, and then they moved here. And then they were here first, and then shortly thereafter they started sharing it. Yeah, I said the same thing on Twitter, Trevor. It's like the Bills have a 6 to 8 game better record than both of the teams. And it's like the Bills, they just don't exist. But then again, it's it's immediacy bias. It's they're here. It's like I just don't like the whole thing of like, hey, we're in New York, we're supposed to be good. Hey, we're the Lakers, we're supposed to be good. Like, I'm a Yankee fan, I get it. Hey, we're the Yankees, we're supposed to be good, and I feel that way. And I think, but I feel like every sports team fan base should feel like that. I wish everyone could feel like they were in it, but that's not the way it is. Unfortunately, I'm a Bills fan. It's been our suffering, but our joy too. We still enjoy it. I still love it. I can't imagine not being a Bills fan. I would never not want to be a Bills fan. Oh, that was embarrassing. I knew it was like the fall of Rome when that kind of shit started, because that's the kind of honk shit he would do to get attention off him. But yeah, you guys came with some great questions about the Bills going into training camp, and we're not really going to see how that stuff materializes in training camp. I mean, we'll hear snippets and stuff like that about guys showing out and playing well, but we'll also, you know, we're going to hear things like, oh, this guy's not stepping up. Oh, this guy's not doing this. So we'll see. But maybe in some of the games, we'll see some snippets of potential. But then again, you know how it is in preseason. It's just, you can get fooled by preseason. Nate Peterman looked like he could be okay. And he went and became Nate Peterman again the second the regular season kicked off. I mean, everything changes. Everything changes. The speed of the game goes up. The rosters are smaller. The frontline guys are in. You guys know this, and then it's game planning. You're locked into one opponent for over a week. I think they'll go 8-8. As a Bills fan, I hope they're better than 8-8. I really want to see anywhere between 9-7 and dare I say 11-5. I want to see a winning season. I want to see a season where there's no debate that this team is on the up climb. That's what I want to see. So far, I mean, it's Levi Wallace. Yeah, Trevor, it's Levi Wallace. He got all the reps. He got every last rep opposite. The only guy that wasn't starting in the mini camps that's probably going to be the same guy, it's probably Ed Oliver. Ed Oliver ran exclusively with the second team. The offense was all over the place because the little dings and injuries and guys not participating, Beasley, Morris, obviously Croft. So there was lots of little guys. There was lots of rotations going on there, but it's important to get those guys healthy into the regular season. That having Josh Allen be as comfortable as possible and surrounded by as much talent as possible, that's what matters to me. These guys are in shape year round. They're ready to go. Just get out there moving football wise, and they'll be ready to rock. Yeah, he's looked good, but I'm afraid about, again, he's kind of like EJ Gaines. I love EJ Gaines. I've seen EJ Gaines play well in a Bills uniform, but we've all seen that. I've seen him play amazing in a Bills uniform, but we've all seen him leave the field almost every game he played due to injury or a ding. And sometimes he would come back on, sometimes he wouldn't. So that type of lack of availability to me, it's hard for me to pencil him in. Johnson's the same thing. He's got tons of ability, but I think he's a guy that they'll have to spot. What's up, Damager? How are you, bro? Like I've told everybody else multiple times, probably the 20th time they've heard it, my cat literally chewed up my damn cord, and I couldn't come on for a few weeks. So, yeah, I want to see them get a game. I want to see them go into the playoffs without any Week 17 drama. That's what I want to see. Or if there is drama with the playoffs on the line, fuck it. I'll take that too. I want to see them play games that matter in November and December and in early January, hopefully in late January. Yeah, the defense under him has been completely and completely and utterly just transformed. And I think it's better than it was in 2014. I thought a lot of that was smoke, not so much smoke and mirrors. It's like we're just going to do something really, really simple, and we're just going to try to do it at a high level, not confuse you, just beat you with our skill. That was the scheme, because the scheme prior was very complex. It wasn't very good against the run. It had a lot of sack numbers, but it gave up a lot of big plays. The Mike Pettin defense, and so I mean, I knew that cold front thing wasn't going to last, because it's very hard to have that, and there's not a lot of scheme um, involved there. It was just basically a wide nine with a cover one man. Very, very, very simple. I remember what Brady did to it. I remember what Phillip Rivers did to it that year. They just carved them up. It was very, very easy. And has he been the best coach since Marv? I think he's a better game coach, and I mean like head coach. I'm not saying that, as like Wade Phillips is an amazing defensive coordinator. Wade Phillips is one of the greatest defensive coordinators of all time to me. Wade Phillips might be the best to me. A lot of people get a lot of talk about defensive coordinators. I think Wade Phillips is probably, you could argue, might be the best defensive coordinator of all time. I think he's that good. As far as a head coach, an amazingly nice guy, a guy who loved players, a guy players loved playing for, but he was not a great game tactician. He was not a great manager of the game. He knew he had talent, and he just kind of let that talent do its thing. He didn't know how to, wasn't very good at overseeing the whole operation. He's very good at, looking at his own side of the ball and just doing his thing. That was his specialty. That's his, great, great ability, and he's amazing at it. So McDermott is probably, I'd say he's the best leader. I think he's the best leader. He needs to get better on game day. He needs to get better with his challenges, and he needs to, I feel like he has opened his mind to the way the game is going to be played in terms of scoring, going for it on fourth down. So I think he's and he's one of the younger guys too. I think he's more apt to change than the others. How about that? Sorry to be so long-winded about it. Yeah, Chan was an offensive guy, but just a bad head coach. He was just not a head coach. I had the same conversation. See, Marv was everybody's granddad. Marv was everybody's dad. Marv was just a very likable guy. He had prior head coaching experience in KC. That was not a good team, and he just knew it was just the right place at the right time. That I just put it to you that way. But the reason I was talking about him was in Super Bowls. Every one of those Super Bowls, Marv Levy was outcoached brutally. Every one of those Super Bowls, whether it was by Bill Parcells, Bill Belichick as the defensive coordinator, Joe Gibbs, or Jimmy Johnson, he was just outcoached in every one of those games. So it was what it was, man. Don't want to reopen old wounds. So yeah, I feel like I felt like they probably would have done a little bit more, but I think they needed to stick at the time. They needed to stick with Doug Flutie as the quarterback. It didn't need to be Rob Johnson. And as Ralph was not going to allow that to happen once the change was made after week 17 of 1999, that was it. He was going to be, that was the coach. Yeah. I don't want to say it was stacked. It just seems like every team it was just the Bills went up a team that had it a little bit better. The Giants were the only team because the Bills had beat them during the regular season. Bruce Smith injured Phil Simms in the Giants game. It was the reason Hostetler was starting. that year against the Redskins. The Bills were 3-13 or 12-4. I forget which. I think they were 13-3. They were I just said 3-13. They were 13-3. Redskins were 14-2. They were just road grading everybody. They had, everybody on their team was having a great year. Their Ripien was having a great year, and the Bills beat themselves. They went out and made a bunch of turnovers. The Redskins scored quickly off them, and then that was all she wrote. Yeah, he that was the thing about McDermott I was going to say that I forgot. Thanks for bringing it up, Eric. McDermott, the job that he's come in and done, none of the other guys were fit to do that job. I will say that Marrone tried. I will give Marrone tried, but I feel like his approach was wrong. Very much a strong-armed tyrant approach that just made people not like him. With the way he treated people and the way he continues to treat people, he's not a likable guy, and tries to be in front of the media, tries to be like a joker and a this and a that. But McDermott came in with a much different approach, but got a lot of the things done. And I feel like probably knew he could when he signed on. I feel like he had assurances that he could make any changes that he deemed necessary before he became the head coach of the Bills, and rightfully so. So much had been long there for so long that needed to happen. That building needed to be fumigated. I said it back in 2014 after Marrone walked out the door. They needed to blow that place apart and get all that dead wood out of there, and they have. Thank you. Yeah, Marrone was just awkward. He's just so awkward. He's just an awkward guy. Like when he tries to joke, and just go watch some of the Jaguars press conferences just for shits and giggles to see how he is. He's just so like he tries too hard to be nice, and it's like, dude, we know you're not nice. Stop it. Like he will curse with the media though. He will drop like some swears, and they'll have to bleep them and stuff. It's kind of funny. He'll just do it. Oh God. I'm glad that clown show was gone. But how do you guys feel about the Bills going into training camp? Overall, aside from your concerns, do you feel like they're going to pick up any guys off waivers? I feel like they will. I always feel like you can find a good guy off waivers, especially if you've got the 9th overall claim, whether it's whatever position you want, whether it's a defensive lineman, another linebacker, you always can use people in the secondary, always. So I feel like they're just going to, that running back situation is going to be, there's a lot of questions on this roster. Now it's starting to dawn on me again because it's been a while since I talked about the Bills with you guys. There's a lot of questions. And it's going to be, I wish the Sabres had this many like questions in terms of like, hey, there's solutions in house. For those bottom pairs, there's no solutions. Second line center, there's no solution. So, I mean, I hope Botterill's going to get on it, man. Another pass rusher. Optimistic look for another type. Yeah, it's possible. It all depends on how Knox shows out, how Sweeney shows out, if they're healthy, how Kroom comes through. Because I'm still not like, I think Kroom still has more to offer. I think he's the kind of young, athletic guy that they've had, and I've seen people, some media guys having him released in their preliminary 53s. I don't think he's going to be released at all. I think he's going to be on this roster, and I think he has ability, and I think he's a guy who's a converted wide receiver playing tight end, and he's developing, and he's the kind of guy I feel like he can get even better. And everything I've heard about Dawson Knox, and I know it's no pads, it's glorified flag football in shorts, but he looks athletic as hell. What's up, Ronald? How are you, bro? I don't know. I don't think that he's going to go anywhere. I think they're going to hold on to him. I think the time to move him was during the draft, and they weren't going to do that to Andy Dalton, their rookie head coach. Is your cat eating your cord? No, no. He's over there asleep. That's what he's doing. Damn it. How you doing, Snarl? Um, so I don't know what I think if he gets moved, it'll be during the trade deadline. You kind of know where guys are at between week 6 and week 9. It's like, okay, they're going to move a guy. They're kind of out of it. He's in the last year of his deal. We'll flip him. I heard Duke was running on the special teams. He was mostly on the special teams units covering. But how can you do special teams so much in non-contact practices? I hear he's physical, but I hear he didn't do much as a receiver. I think Foster is going to emerge as the number one. That guy was, you know what he reminded me of, and I don't. It's hard to say this. It took this guy a few years to catch on. I remember this well. It took this guy a few years to catch on, and he didn't really have his glory years with Kelly. He didn't. And I was like, wow, I mean, I really had high hopes for this guy. He was great in college. You know, Reed was on his way out. He's still sort of like productive. But when 2008 kicked in, that fucking guy was a machine. I mean, like 60, 70 catches. He was averaging 20 yards a catch. 20 yards. And that's like during those last few games, all of a sudden I'm sitting here watching the Bills and I'm like, God, he reminds me of Eric Moulds. Like he reminds me of Eric Moulds, man. And if they get 1998 out of Robert Woods this year, Eric Moulds' production, I'd be ecstatic. Please double play it. Nice, they got out of it. Oh, sorry guys. I watched like a little bit of this game and talked to you, but if they can get a stud like that, because I think he's a stud. Like I think he's a true alpha dog that could be a game changer. He was a game changer. He was a game changer. Like Josh Allen being the quarterback and that guy being on the field made it respectable, because the first 8-9 games of the season, the Bills' offense, their pass game was not respectable. I mean, and I don't want to slight Zay Jones either. Zay Jones, his last half was really good. He really played well. And if Robert Foster being good helped that along, great, because that's what it's about. Even Isaiah McKenzie came in and did some things. Like he showed some ability. So the cupboard wasn't as totally bare, because Robert Foster was a non-entity when the season started. He was like even during draft time. Like if you say the name Robert Foster, it sounds like a made-up player in Madden. It sounds like one of those made-up players that's in the free agency box in Madden. That's not even a real player. He's a real player. Now he definitely is a real player. Yeah, he broke out in year 3. And I was thinking like, damn, and this is before the advent of social media and all this stuff. So there wasn't really the bust label that there is tagged on guys now. Like that, like you can get that bust label quick now. So he was really starting to like, I remember in his rookie year, he caught a garbage time touchdown in Seattle. And it was like, I got excited about it. And I remember he returned a kickoff for a touchdown against the Jets in a blowout win. Kelly tweaked his hamstring in that game. I remember it well. Frank Reich was the quarterback for the Jets that game. That's why it was really, really stuck out in my head. I think Foster's that alpha dog, man. I really do. I see what you did there. And Cole, I think Cole is a real dog. Like that little guy has a major chip on his shoulder. And I was going to bring this up too. This is the first year, and rightfully so. Rightfully so. I mean, I'm 41. I'm 41 years old. So if somebody's going to sign me to do a job, they're going to have age questions in a performance environment. And this was the first time I heard that Brady's age was a question for offensive free agents, particularly wide receivers. And it was Humphreys, the wide receiver who ended up in Tennessee from Tampa Bay, and Beasley, that they themselves had questions about Tom Brady's age, because I don't care what kind of jargon they spew, what kind of garbage they spew. I think that Brady is weak. He's week to week. He's not year to year to me. Because when you're 42 years old and you're playing that sport and you're trying to keep your level of play at this level, you don't have a decline. You have a cliff. There's no such thing as a decline with NFL players, especially quarterbacks. There's cliffs. And you find the cliff. The cliff will find you. You don't have to walk to it. The cliff will show up in front of you, and you're going to walk over the cliff. And that's what's going to happen. I just don't think they wanted to get the kid killed, Trevor. They didn't want to get him killed. I'll tell you that Bengals game scared the living piss out of him, and that Bengals game was the precursor to how bad their offensive line was, how they couldn't protect Allen, how they couldn't do certain things schematically. They couldn't run the ball. They didn't have any wide receivers to threaten defenses vertically, because they had, who do they have in there at the time? They had Benjamin, they had Andre Holmes, they had Zay. He missed a bunch of camp because of the he had surgery, I remember, and he had that incident in the hotel. So I mean, they were still messing around with Jeremy Curley. Ray McLeod hadn't got his head on straight. Now that I heard he was doing some good things in camp, though. So, yeah, I mean, I saw some arm depreciation last year. I saw it last year that his arm was a little. Yeah, you were at the Bengals game, Eric. It was just as bad on TV. I do not know why I still have that fucking game saved on my DVR. I have no idea why. You know what? Now I'm gonna end up watching the fucking thing, just to look at it, because I remember it was just awful. I just oh my God, I know it's a preseason. I don't want to react to preseason, but Jesus Christ, this looks terrible. And that scared the shit out of them. They were going to start Josh Allen, and they were like, no, because I heard they were very excited coming out of that Cleveland game, which I was at, because his play, and I sound like a homer. I'm going to sound like a homer. I'm sorry. I saw all three on the field at the same time. I'm not even going to put Peterman, but at the time I didn't know how catastrophic the regular season was going to be for him. But I saw all three in the field at some point during the game. I saw Mayfield, I saw Tyrod, I saw Allen. And if you were just to take those guys and put them in, just stand them up and say, which one's your quarterback? Go pick them out. And you were to watch them in the game, the way they move, the way they throw, I shit you not, you would go to Josh Allen and be like, that guy, first pick, him, no doubt. Now, Baker throws a beautiful ball. Saw it live. Throws a beautiful ball. I remember he hit that Kajus kid, and fucking Tanner Vallejo was just trailing, couldn't catch him, and he fucking just tethered it right over him beautifully. I remember that pass well. But the one that stuck out for me from Allen was the Rod Streeter pass in the back of the end zone, and there was a couple of plays on the sidelines that he had for first downs that were nice. So yeah, man, it's gonna be an exciting. I think it's gonna be an exciting year. I really do. I don't want to sleep on anybody in the division. I don't want to sleep on the Jets. I don't want to sleep on the Dolphins. I don't care what people talk about them not, being up to snuff, or they're tanking or this or that. I still take them seriously. I take every team seriously, because every win, especially in the division, counts ×2, and they're all important. And I don't think that you can. The Bills aren't in position to take anybody lightly. They haven't proven it yet. Do I want to see Josh Allen lead a playoff team. That's what I want to see. I don't care about Pro Bowls. I don't care about statistics and fantasy football because there's a huge divide in sports now, particularly in football. There's a huge divide. I firmly believe this. There's football fans, and that's the category I'm firmly in. And I don't care what people's motivation for watching sports is. It's not mine. It's not for me to question. But there's people that are fantasy football fans before they're football fans. They care about their fantasy leagues and their fantasy teams. They might have a rooting interest, but they don't care about that as much as they care about their fantasy team. That's not me. I don't give two shits about fantasy. I don't play fantasy. I don't care about fantasy. It's fantasy. I care about the real product on the field. Now, in my own little Narnia world, my own little rainbows and unicorns, I want to see Josh Allen throw for 4,000 yards, 40 touchdowns, I want to see that shit. That's fun. That's fun shit. Shit, Kelly didn't throw for 4,000 yards, but he threw for high 3,000 yards. I think it was 3,800 yards, 33 touchdowns. Reich had 6 touchdowns in garbage time that year. That was fun as hell to watch, guys. Let me tell you, fun as hell. So I want to see that again. Just one more time. I want to see that again. Fuck, a lot more times. A lot more. But fun talking to you guys as always. I really, really enjoyed it. I plan on doing some other videos to talk about sports, like different sports stuff. I was going to talk about the NBA. I was going to talk about the way the women's national team is being perceived or talked about here domestically in the United States. Yeah, dude, how nice is it watching your quarterback score 5 touchdowns? I don't care if 2 of them are rushing. It's fucking nice. I think he won. I know how fantasy is scored. I know he won fantasy leagues for fantasy football fans, 60 sacks. And there's people that love defense. I love defense. Don't get me wrong. I love seeing a suffocating defense when opposing offenses can't score and you're getting after the other team's quarterback and they can't block you and you're getting, tip passes and you're sure tackling. Nobody's getting past you. That shit's fun, man. That shit is fun. Yeah, and I just want to see them be consistent week to week. I want to see as close to the same team level of play each week. And I know there's always going to be ebbs and flows. I know how reality is, man. You're at the Dolphins game. Of course, Matthew. It's so fun. It's fun to watch. I mean, I'm here on TV. Watching on TV. It's like it makes you, it's like, you're just going to, I've said this so many times, you just know you're going to have a good week. Yeah, you got to be a real football fan to be a Bills fan. Like, you really do. You can't be a half-asser. You just can't do it. There's no way. You're in or you're not. It's like Jeff fans. Jeff fans too. I know real Jeff fans. I know there's Cleveland fans. You can't be a half-ass Cleveland fan. Shit, the Bengals have been to playoffs. You can't be a half-ass Bengal fan. Like, if you like the Bengals, like you like football, because they got a crusty old cheap owner who I don't know if he's ever going to pass, but boy, wow, is he. Yeah, it's a shame he tore his Achilles, dude. That guy was a special player, man. He wanted to come to Buffalo too, number 51. I mean, he looked like what he was, a linebacker with that neck. His neck was like like 2 of my biceps. It was just this, like, I can't even fake having it. It was just like this log that he had, man. It was just nasty. I remember those linebacking cores too. They could have had a good core for a while. They had spikes. I mean, I feel like they let go of London Fletcher a little too soon. And Angelo Crowell hurt his knee. He had microfracture, and he tried to get it fixed, but he was done. Sam Cowart was injured a little earlier, but even him, man, they had such bad luck with linebackers. Trevor, you know what's funny with Aaron Schobel? He played football because he made money out of it. He really had passion for playing for it. Remember when he just retired? He's just like, I'm done. I don't want to even go try to win a Super Bowl somewhere. I'm just going to walk away. I made my money, had my fun. I never thought Puz was a good player. I thought he was an okay player. He was just more hype, linebacker you, Paul Posluszny, Shane Conlon 2.0. He couldn't pass cover. He was always kind of a day late guy, solid locker room guy, the perfect Dick Duran player, but not an impact player. Those other linebackers were impact linebackers. Cowart, when he was healthy, impact. Angelo Crowell, impact. Spikes, impact. Even London Fletcher, impact. So they had some definite message. Let me view it. I don't know why they put Posluszny as a hidden thing. I don't know why, Eric. That's stupid. I'm trying to unhide it, but it didn't let me. Okay, now I did it right. Okay, how is Dick Duran a football coach? Dick Duran just knew all the right people. He went to Yale, Skull and Bones. He was I think a disciple of Forrest Gregg, who's an old offensive lineman for the Packers, and ended up coaching with the Bengals. So you know how it is. It's a fraternity, man. It can't get worse than Schobel and Chris Kelsay. Well, you throw Ryan Denny in there, dude, it got pretty tough. And then you had a bust first-round pick, John McCargo, who got his job taken like that by Kyle Williams. I remember that very well. And the Bills traded up to get McCargo that year in 06. I remember that very well. He was part of that Mario Williams offensive line in North Carolina. Manny Lawson. It's funny how they all played for the Bills, huh? Vince Young ended up playing for the Bills that year. Reggie Bush, the top 3 picks that year. Maben pissed me off. I wanted a Rakpo. And CJ Spiller was like, to me, like that pissed me off a lot because it was the first draft of a new regime, and there they go getting cute with a toy. I'm like, why are you? But he just wasn't a great player. And see, that year, I didn't want Whitner. I wanted Nada. I wanted Haloti Nada. I was like, get Nada. You need a defensive lineman. Nope. You know who drafted Whitner? Marv Levy. Marv Levy picked Dante Whitner. They let him make the first-round pick that year. That was the pick that he got gifted. I was so irritated by those fucking drafts. I remember in 09, 08, I was like, please get a quarterback anywhere between 08 and 09 because I was worried about Trent. I still had high hopes for him, but I was worried, especially after 08. This whole second half was shit. And I was like, get a quarterback. They didn't take a quarterback. 10, they didn't take a quarterback. 11, they didn't take a quarterback. 12, they didn't take a quarterback. I was just like, you're not even throwing a flyer at a 3rd round, 4th round pick. That shit was frustrating. That shit was frustrating. Yep, corners and safeties. McKelvin, you let Jabari Greer walk so he can go win a Super Bowl in New Orleans. You let Jason Peters walk or trade him so you can go still be, one of the best left tackles of all time, multi-time Pro Bowler. Stupid organization. Hopefully them days are long gone, guys. How fun it is to walk down memory lane at this just total stupidity with that team. Couldn't make heads or tails out of what they were doing from year to year. If that's true, that's depressing, Eric. I didn't even know that. And if it's true, that would really oh fuck. Because he's a better player than Kyle. We love Kyle, but for a career, he's a better player. So they could have been nice playing together. Yeah, old guys and a marketing guy named Russ Brandon. But I think everybody is a lot more optimistic about where the Bills are at, where they could potentially be headed, opposed to the Sabres, which is crazy because if you flip it back like 2 years, it was like, well, Eichel's on the come up, Reinhardt. There was still high hopes for Ristolainen. Dahlin hadn't entered the picture yet, but there was high hopes. I think they had an 80-plus point season. Everybody thought they were on the up. O'Reilly, Kane. They had, wow, how it all fell. And it's just been It's amazing how O'Reilly goes to falling out of love with hockey to winning, the Conn Smythe and I don't know, was it the Vezina trophy he won or something like he won another trophy. Just you see him up there with all the trophies and all the hardware, the Stanley Cup. It's like wow. It's like there's something out there that wants to fuck with Bill's sports. I swear. But guys, I've been on an hour. Thank you so much. Cowherd doesn't think the Bills will do it. Not Cowherd. He's all the way out in LA with his head up his ass. Sometimes his opinions are interesting, but I hope I never do this. And if I do, call me out on it, guys. Um, there's this syndrome out there now. It's a syndrome. I call it a syndrome. I think it's almost like a disease. People are in love with sounding like the smartest person in the room. That's what it is. When it comes to sports in particular, it's I have to be the smartest person in the room and I have to have some opinion or take that is just so thought provoking and just almost pretentious. And I hate it. I hate that shit. Yeah. Well, I remember that very well. He was not going to hire. I remember when John Gruden had dinner with Russ Brandon in Buffalo in 2009. Everybody lost their panties. I'm bad for that snarl. He is an elitist. He's a big time elitist. Would blow Tom Brady the skin off Tom Brady's dick if he had a chance, but he dislikes Aaron Rodgers. And I understand. Rodgers has a lot of questions around him. As great as he is, why has the team not been good in the last 2 years? And that whole thing going on in Green Bay kind of flies in the face of all you need is a great quarterback, and then Rodgers is as great as they come. It doesn't get any better than Aaron Rodgers. But why is the team hemorrhaging? And for the people that still believe in football and team, and you need a lot of moving parts, that strengthens their argument tenfold because he's the ultimate example of, hey, you just don't have that and you get it all. No, there's a lot more that's in play. Too many State Farms. Too much something, man. Too much something. Yeah, Gruden's a persona. He's not a head coach to me. Gruden, more so than ever, he's a persona. And when you're how many years away from the game? 15, decade and a half away from the game. Those type of comebacks, man, they don't end well. I mean, they don't. There's not many Dick Vermeil comebacks as he did with the Rams, and even had a few successful years, with Chiefs. So there's not many of those, man. We'll have more rushing yards. Allen, McCoy, Gore, Singletary. You want me to tell you? I think it'll be Gore and Singletary if I had to say now. But if it was Allen and McCoy, I wouldn't be shocked either. I wouldn't be shocked if any one of those guys, man. That's a good bet. That's a good one, Mafia man. That's a really good one. That's some good shit. Yeah, he's. But the thing is, Eric, if they suck and they have to go to Vegas and sell that building out, that beautiful new building, because that building looks nice. I see them. They're doing a special on YouTube about the building of it and everything, which I think is pretty cool. I hope the Bills do something like that when they get their new stadium. Who's going to go? I mean, they'll travel, but it's a niche fan base. People will go because, hey, it's something to do. It's in Vegas, but, the tickets are going to be mad expensive. How far are Raider fans willing to travel? They travel. They have a loyal fan base, and they have a big fan base too. So I don't know, man. The NFL's got to be careful with the way they move. That team has moved like 4 times since I've been alive. I think they've moved 3 or 4 times since I've been alive. That is insane. From Oakland back to Oakland. Yeah, wait. From Oakland to LA, LA back to Oakland, now to Vegas. So if that constitutes 3 or 4, yeah, greedy fucking NFL. Greedy fucking Fifth Avenue motherfuckers, dude. I swear to God. Whether it's advertising, whatever, dollars, it's never enough. And it always fucks the game up. Thank you guys so much. I love you guys so much. Yeah, dude. I mean, I love Yankee Stadium. I can't afford to go to many games. I can go to a handful of games, but I can't go sit behind the diamond anymore. I can't go sit behind the diamond. in the Legends sec. Fuck no. I can't drop five bills on fucking baseball seats. I can go pay a 80 to 100 and sit in decent seats out in the out. I love to sit in the outfield stand, right field. Love the elevation, love the second deck, but still, it depends on the game and the opponent. That shit gets expensive. Would I trade Foster until? No, I don't trust AJ Green to stay healthy. I know AJ Green. That's a tough one, but I like Foster's potential too much. I like his potential too much. His contract, because AJ Green's going to be a free agent and you're going to have to pay him, and he's going to be 31. I want a guy that's affordable, that's on this. His trajectory is going like this. So I think I might have to say no, man. Snarl, Bills Mafia, man, Eric, Los, Trevor, Matthew, all you guys, love all of you. Thank you so much, Damager. Try to get to all of you here. I wish I could have a Roland, Felix, all of you guys. Thanks for coming in, Christopher. Thanks for coming in. I appreciate you all. I'm gonna dip off. It's almost 10. I gotta get ready for tomorrow. I gotta go watch or semi-watch and make sure some shit is getting built right. That should be fun. I wish I was cooking, but I'm not. All right, guys, have a great one. Go Bills. Love all you guys. And hope to talk to you soon. And hope all the news is positive and stays positive. There's always going to be some bumps in the road. That's just life. But hopefully it's all on the uptick. Have a great one, guys. Love you. Go Bills.